2, 1. Hey guys, Ben here with a quick little comment. Jonathan's mic had a very strong hum in the background, so I had to use some AI to go ahead and remove that hum. But there's only so much that I could do, so he sounds a little roboty. I just needed to get that out of the way now. My mic still sounds the same, but Jonathan sounds a little robotic. Other than that, that's about all that there's going to be sound a little different for this. It's better than the loud hum that there was, so I just want to explain that now. I hope you guys enjoy the podcast. If you do, drop a like, comment down below, be a part of the conversation. We love love hearing from you guys. So yeah, and I hope you guys enjoy episode 34.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the Buckhouse Podcast. This is episode 34, and I'm with my brother, my co-host, Benjamin Buckhouse. I'm Johnathan Buckhouse, and this is a podcast of two brothers that just catch up once a week. We literally talk all things, everything, and in honor of this week, we don't really do current events, but the Packers won a game by a blocked field goal, so I'm rocking a Green Bay Packer shirt on this episode of the podcast because I'm hyped. That was a fun game. How you doing, bro?
That win was necessary for me.
Necessary for my attitude for this whole week.
Yes. We try our best not to let sports impact our attitudes for the week or anything, but losing to the Bears is a big deal. If you don't know much about football or anything, like there's divisions, basically, like, you know, teams that you play the most, and that impacts your playoff experience and things like that. And the Bears are our rivals. We've been rivals with them for literally over 100 years, and we've beat them now 11 times in a row. So it's a big deal to continue to keep beating them. So for us to win based off of a blocked field goal, it was such a relief. Like, my attitude changed instantly, and Kirsty, my wife, even saw it, and she was like so happy for us because she's like, yes, he's gonna be happy.
So I've gotten the talk from Bobby of like, you need to stop letting these football games affect our day. But also, it was going to really affect my TikTok algorithm because one of my favorite things to do on TikTok is to watch Bears fans cry about after their losses. Especially like the Hail Mary and things, like the videos like of just Bears fans getting depressed is like one of my favorite things to watch. So I'm very happy that the Packers won. And to segue into, how do I want to say this? I woke up to the internet today.
What do you mean by that?
What I mean is the internet is the only place on the planet where you could do nothing wrong and completely be ripped in your comments about how you did everything wrong.
What happened this time?
Did you see me get hit by that skier?
Oh, yes, I did. I did see you get hit by the skier, and I was like,
I'm a jerk, and I'm a baby, apparently, to my comments.
So some guy bombs River Run and lands into you. What? So I don't know. I wouldn't say.
To break it down here, so he wasn't. Okay, so I ride down with my group of friends, and I'm back towards the mountain, which I normally am never back towards the mountain, and I'm unstrapping. But I rode down. It wasn't a busy day at all. Like, compared to early season, this was actually a pretty mellow day. So I ride down, and the ride is like extremely steep, and they have all these slow signs like to slow down because, like, hey, past this area, like, people are standing and congregating, like, you need to be going slow as you go past these signs. And so I'm not like by the slow signs, I'm like 15 yards past them. I'm like way in the should be fine to stand here zone. And I literally unstrap, and within like 5 seconds of unstrapping, like, I didn't unstrap and immediately turn around. Or I didn't unstrap and immediately go into the lift line. Which, sure, I was still clearly I was still staying in a spot that I could get hit. And normally I'm like on it and going, but we were riding with a group of like 6 people, so we were getting down to the bottom and kind of waiting a little longer than normal just to make sure the whole group could get together. And so I unstrap, and I like look at someone basically before, like, I came down and unstrapped, and before Michael could fully unstrap his board, I get hit because Michael unstraps his board and then pans the camera, and immediately I get hit. Like, that's how fast this happened. And the dude didn't, like, hit me because he was flying out of control. Like, in hindsight, after watching the video, which I don't know that in real life, in real time, I just know someone slammed into me. But apparently he was still going a speed in which he could get out of control, if that makes sense. Because he, like, apparently he said he slipped on the ice, ends up spinning backwards, and runs into me going backwards.
I'm so confused on how you got hate for that. I just pulled up some of the comments.
I got a ton of hate. Like, a lot of people saying, like, you're a wuss, get over it, he said sorry, things like that. I'm like, okay, just because he said sorry doesn't mean he didn't do something wrong. Some people being like, because in the caption I said, like, thank God my season wasn't ended, like, please make sure you're riding slow in slow zones, things like that. Like, we've kind of talked about this, at least last week, where, like, I'm kind of been put into this position in a way to, like, if I can microphone a safety tip or microphone some type of education, I probably should. And I felt like this video was a good one to be like, hey guys, like, stop running into people at the bottom of the mountains. Like, that's kind of unacceptable. Like, because yeah, this dude could have been going, imagine he was going the speed of the dude the last week's episode I was talking about and was to hit me. He could have totally, like, destroyed, and thank God I was unstrapped or my foot was on my snowboard and not planted in the ground. Because yeah, even going at the speed in which he hit me, I could have ripped something in my knee. You know, it could have gone way south. And some people are like, oh, it could have ended your season. Get over yourself. You suck at snowboarding. It's like, dude, I literally feed my family. Like, this is my job. Like, I feed my family doing this. Yeah, thank God my season wasn't ended, because then it would have been really hard for my family. And then it would have put me in a position to literally had to sue that dude. Like, which would, so I don't want to do that ever. But in reality, like, what am I supposed to just, like, be the nice guy and then Roman and Bristol can't have a normal life because it's a crappy situation, and I never want to be in that situation. I do my best to not put myself in those situations. But yeah, the internet's the only place on the planet where you could do nothing wrong. And a lot of people comment on my attitude, like, oh, you were rude, you could have been this, but yeah, I also could have been way freaking worse. I could have been way freaking meaner, but I was irritated, dude. I'm standing here, I just got down, you run into me, like, what are you doing? And that's literally basically what I said. He's like, you good? I was like, I'm good, but what are you doing? Like, why are you running into people? Like, that's unacceptable.
Honestly, I'm reading these comments. I'm gonna say it, and I'm sorry, guys. These are the dumbest people I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, this one guy says, thank God my season wasn't ended. Get over yourself, Johnny. You only do the same Zeech trick over and over anyway. I know you already responded to that, but it's like, what do you mean get over yourself? You're just like, hey, thankfully that guy didn't break my foot. Like, like, that's all that you're saying. And he's like, screw you, Johnny.
Yeah. I mean, it's wild. And once again, I'm not like this, and I don't try to carry myself. I'm not trying to be like entitled. Like, I don't know. I just like, that's an unacceptable place to ever run into somebody.
I don't know, bro. According to this person, how are you going to stand in the middle of a run and get violent when you get hit? These damn riff-raff snowboards. You're at the bottom of the run.
If you read someone replied to him, if you read it, he was like, I was being sarcastic. But that's on Instagram, by the way. TikTok is way worse.
I haven't been on TikTok. This is on Instagram. I'm going to TikTok.
Instagram actually has Instagram's 40% on my side, 60% I'm in the wrong. TikTok's 90% I'm in the wrong.
Dude, at least on YouTube, you're not getting completely smashed right now.
In reality, it's the internet, so it doesn't bug me so much, because I actually had 4 people reach out to me and be like, dude, the way you handled that was so respectable, because I would have murdered that human.
It's so funny too, because it's like, if those people were in your situation, they would literally be like, they'd be so mad.
Yeah, it's all fun and games until you're the one involved in it, you know? And you also don't know how you're going to carry yourself in a situation like that. I literally teetered the line of am I like, what do I say to this? I literally looked at him. I was like, what? You'll see in the video, I like chuck his pole at him. I was like, as I was processing everything, you know, I was just like, am I mad at this person? I'm not hurt, so I'm not going to be like mad at him, but like, I got to say something that like, this is so irritating. And then I had his pole. I don't know how I got his pole in my hand, but I had his pole in my hand, and I went through the process of like, just chuck it at him. Like, you know, in slow motion, you're like, or when things are happening, your brain's going a trillion miles per hour. And I was like, just like spear him with his own pole.
Imagine you just take it and you like, whack.
Yeah, I just start beating him with his pole. But like, but so like, then, you know, we separate, and then, like, I get a couple minutes, like the dust settles, I get to the top of the mountain, and like my brand new Burton Custom has this massive gash on the top sheet, which in all reality doesn't matter because I'm going to absolutely thrash that board. But in the current, when it's brand freaking new and nice, and I haven't made a review video with it, and I, you know, like, now this $700 snowboard, and yes, I bought that board this year, is all like just, you know, it's just irritating. It's not the end of the world. It's just irritating. It shouldn't be scratched on the top like it is, but it is because this dude ran into me. Also, his pole smacked my phone and broke my like privacy screen protector, which is like $20 down the drain. Like, it's just like little things like that. Post the 5 seconds of this. I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry. It's like, okay, be sorry, but like,
listen, you need to get over yourself, Johnny.
How dare I be irritated? How dare I be irritated? That's all I was irritated that someone ran into me in a area which I shouldn't have been hit. It'd be like, essentially you're driving, like, essentially you park, like you literally pull into your parking spot in a wide open parking lot, let's say like a Lowe's or something. You park your car and someone backs into you in like the most open parking lot, like no cars around. You're like, why?
Yeah, that's no. It really is. And what's funny is it really is like one of those what are the chances moments, because I'll by this point in the conversation, I'll already have the video playing on the screen, so you guys have already seen it. But if you noticed, you were past the slow sign, so you're in like the quote unquote
like 15 yards.
Yeah, like you're in the quote unquote like loading zone for the ski lift and everything like that. Like you're in a safe area, but there's no one behind you, so you are. You're not like the back bowling pin that got hit. You're the front bowling pin that got hit. Like, it's like, what are the chances that that guy...
He also hit Tristan a little bit. He hit Tristan's snowboard, but still. Anyways, so yeah, I woke up to the internet because I was not expecting my comments. I was like, oh dang, I got a bunch of comments. And then I was like, oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm a kook.
I'm the worst person ever for almost getting hit. My bad, guys.
I hate when people, like, someone commented, like, oh, it was another, like, get over yourself, posting this for views and this and that, like, you're a despicable human. Like, I'm so over people being like, how dare you post something for views, likes, and comments, blah, 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 blah. Like,
do people not know what the internet is? Like, that same person posts on his personal account, and as soon as he posts it, he refreshes his notifications every 5 minutes because he's like, how many likes did I get on his own personal stuff? Like, do people not realize that that's what the internet is? The internet is a narcissistic place. Like, you post stuff and you want to get reactions. That's what it is.
Yeah, and like, also it's funny. Like, when I showed Michael the video, his laugh, Michael, the ski doctor, the guy who's going to be filming for me this year, he has a contagious laugh. He's one of those dudes where, like, if he's laughing, everyone's laughing because his laugh is so, like, out there. And dude, just listening to him laugh at the video, like, I was dying. It definitely, I don't know. I don't know. I'll use that. I'm going to use that clip a lot now. I got a viral clip now. Not a viral clip. I I save clips like these. It's cool because you get like essentially like it's a lifelong B-roll clip. As weird as that sounds. And as someone that makes content for a living, like now anytime I want to talk about chairlift safety or maze safety, I have that clip to cut into. Or if I want a video to get attention right away, I could just make that the very first clip.
Yeah. I was going to say for your Burton review, your Burton custom review for the snowboard, you can just be like, this board would be in perfect condition if, and then it just cuts to you getting hit. But yeah, no, like
this was a beautiful board until.
But I know what you mean, because there's a couple of those, like you've had a lot of your slams have become those, like what you're saying, these B-roll clips where you can use it as an example or show it and things like that. So it's whenever you get those moments, it is probably a good feeling to be like, I've got this forever. Like I can always use this.
Oh, and by the way, on the note of that guy saying like, the same Z2 tricks for years. First off, I've gotten so much better at snowboarding over the years. Second off, I snowboard so much more than just park. And third off, someone doesn't know how to make a 15-minute long video, because it takes a lot of clips to make a video, if that makes sense.
People are always going to hate you just for being you. It is what it is, right? People
or people are going to hate you for doing absolutely nothing wrong.
I just like, comparison is the thief of joy. I will like, that's one of my favorite quotes of all time, because it's just it's such a humbling quote, and it just brings people down, but it's like brings people down to earth. That's what I meant to say there. But it's like when people
brings people down.
Yeah, it's like, I'm really good at video games. I'm really good at video games. Now,
he's not lying.
Sometimes I get into lobbies with pro gamers, and I'm not the best. But I'm also getting compared to the literal best of the best. The people that do this for a living on like to break it down with like what Johnathan does as a quote unquote pro snowboarder, and then what a like professional does, right? It's like for the video game world, yeah, there's people that stream and like that's what they do. They're not necessarily the best of the best, but they still do it professionally, right? That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people that do this as like they are so good at the game that they go and compete for millions of dollars. Yeah, like yeah. I play against those people, and yeah, I don't look nearly as good. It is what it is. And like that's the same thing. Like, Johnathan, you're a really freaking good snowboarder. But then these people are comparing you to the 16-year-old Olympic athletes that have been doing gymnastics and snowboarding their entire lives. Like, that's not a fair comparison.
In Finland, I rode with a Olympian. His name is Jamie Nichols, and he's a UK Olympian, and he got 4th at one of the Olympics. Yeah, that dude was on a whole nother level than me when it came to snowboarding. Like, it was absurd. But that's okay. I'm not Olympian.
Yeah, like there's a like no offense. There's yeah, it's like
I'm not claiming to be one.
It's like no offense. There's a reason why you're not an Olympian. You know, like so it's so funny that just that comparison is the thief of joy. People just can't appreciate, you know, your skill level, because you know they're so tunnel visioned on the best of the best, and they're like, Jonathan's not the best of the best, so he sucks.
There's two along this line. I didn't think this conversation was going to go this way, but my friend Chris has a good way of looking at it. He goes, these guys need to like look at you and go like, wow, how impressive that he figured out a way to make it happen and to do it better than like most like quote unquote pro competitor athletes. You know, like this dude's like, why can't you respect the guy for figuring out his own lane essentially? And then I've heard other people say like, people need to chill out and respect the fact that like you created a whole new way of being a professional snowboarder.
Dude,
which is
that would involve two
true.
things. people being happy for you.
Common sense and critical thinking.
Yeah, it consists of 4 things. No, but it consists of people being happy for you and people admitting that you're doing something good. And they're never gonna do that.
I want people to be happy.
They're never gonna do that, bro.
No, but it is wild to think that, like, and I can't take all the credit because you're the one that talked me into it, but like literally created a whole new way of being a professional snowboarder.
When I tell people what I've done, like, because people, I don't necessarily like bring it into conversation, but like my job, I do the social media for my company, and I myself didn't tell these people. I don't really know who told them, but my colleagues are like, "Oh yeah, you've done stuff with your brother, right?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah." So they're like, "What is that? Like, what did you guys do?" I'll be like, "Okay, well, like my brother and I started a YouTube channel where we pioneered vlogging and snowboarding at the same time, and like, you know, then I keep talking about it like that, but I'm like, dude, we literally pioneered a genre, and it's not like that the idea was solely, you know, this brand new idea, because it's like there's the skateboarding vloggers, that's where I got the idea from, and there's people that surf and vlog and blah blah blah, but it's like, no, we were the first ones to snowboard and vlog, and like we pioneered that.
And we hit it hard. Did over 160 episodes that first year. So it's, yeah, I suck.
Worst person I've ever met.
What you got going on in your life, bro?
So
You just talked about me a lot.
I don't remember if this is what we talked about in the last podcast. I think it was, but I think I talked about how I set up the ability to stream vertically and horizontally.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if we talked about it in the last podcast, but if I didn't, basically,
I don't think we did.
okay, so I'll talk about this now then. So, with vertical content taking over the world and everything like that, vertical streaming is becoming more popular, and a thing I decided that I wanted to learn how to do was be able to learn or stream my video games horizontally, like you guys are watching right now, and then also stream it vertically as if you're on like TikTok, Instagram Reels, that type of stuff. And so I set it up, and I was super excited. I sent like a Snapchat to my family, and I was like, yes, this is gonna be so exciting. And then when I went to go test it, it didn't work. It didn't work, and I was so...
Dang it, I need you to come set my streams up.
Well, I figured out a secondary thing, but I was very frustrated because I was like, are you kidding me? Like, oh, that's so frustrating. Why it didn't work was... I'm going to go nerdy for a quick second and just act like you guys know what I'm talking about. So when you go to stream from a software, you just stream it to YouTube, and then you need what's called a stream key to tell YouTube what channel you're streaming it to. So I'm just streaming to YouTube, and then YouTube's like, okay, well, who are you and what are you streaming it to, blah, blah, blah. So then I have a very unique stream key. It's literally like 25 random numbers and digits, and you can change it whenever you want. You can just copy and paste that, and so YouTube then goes, oh, okay, you're this stream key. Okay, you're streaming it to My First Instinct. Got it. Same thing goes for like Jonathan's channel and everything like that. Well, TikTok has stream keys, but they don't just give them to you. You have to like be one of their top streamers to have that. So I tried to figure out a way where I streamed using 2 softwares. The main one that is called OBS. If you have streamed ever, you know what that is. And then the TikTok, like their streaming software. And I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to have them side by side. And I do this unique trick where I like create a virtual camera. Like I said, I'm getting nerdy for a second, but and have it to where like I'm streaming from both of the softwares at the same time, and everything was going to be good to go. Well, when I was doing that, TikTok just was like, hey, we can't do that because the hardware is being used on this software, blah, blah. It was just, I was just annoyed with it. So anyways, that didn't work out. But last night I did just outright stream from that OBS, the main streaming software that I was talking about. But on that one, I was able to stream to YouTube twice, the horizontal and vertical. So I basically on YouTube, I had 2 streams going. And like I said, a horizontal and a vertical stream. And it went better than my average stream. It went better than my average stream. I don't have the exact analytics, but I would say that I averaged probably like 3 or 4 more viewers than I normally did. So that was a lot of fun.
Nice, bro. Happy to hear you getting success with that. I have not gone live in like 2 weeks, which is kind of a bummer. And I just, with the traveling in Finland and coming back and my life being a mess from being gone for so long. But I would love to do what you just talked about, even though I didn't understand what you were talking about. I would love to do that. So this is how me and Ben's relationship has always worked. Ben understands the nerdiness and the technical side of everything, and I'm just like, so is it working?
It's so funny because it's all like the more I get into like hobbies or jobs, jargons, terminology, stuff like that, the more I realize that it's like you have to really care about something to learn it and learn it at a good pace. So I really like computers and I like streaming, and I'm not a programmer. I'm not the nerdiest person, trust me. Some people may jump in the comments and know more about this than I do, and that's completely normal because I know that I know enough, right? I know enough to get in trouble, but not enough to fix anything type of, or I would say fix anything, but like I know enough. And that's just the way I've been. And same thing with like editing, like, not to rag on Johnathan or anything, but Johnathan still uses iMovie as his editing software. I use Adobe Premiere Pro, which is a much more advanced software, but Jonathan's like, if it works, it works. So, like that's how it's always been.
It's easy, it's fast. I don't got time to do other things.
You make great content from it too. Nobody would believe you if you were like, I make all my videos on iMovie. Like nobody would believe you because they're like, you make such good stuff.
Anytime I like post a story of my like, I'm working on an edit or something, people are like, what are you doing using iMovie? I'm like, well, you didn't know, so clearly it doesn't matter. If I was to do a bigger project, like a movie or something, obviously I would want to upgrade or like, do something more. But for YouTube, absolutely not needed. At least for my content.
I'm gonna try to just wrap up my point real fast. But with my current job, there's a lot of insurance jargon and a lot of technical jargon. Once again, guys, I work in ABA therapy. It's called Applied Behavior Analysis Therapy. We work with kids with autism, and we basically just try to work on their behaviors to try to help them learn, adapt, and just kind of. I don't like saying it like this, but like in your just normal day life or like in normal society, become like quote unquote closer to normal. I don't like saying it like that, but like just bringing them closer to reality type of stuff.
To fit into society, like how things work. Understanding how the normal world goes.
Exactly. But anyways, so with that, this is a industry I've never been in, and I just got thrown into it, which is completely fine. Like that's like I'm completely fine with that. But there's a lot of conversations I have, and I have no idea what they're saying, but these people have been in the industry for like 10 plus years, and they really they went to school for it, and they really care about this. And so for them, this jargon is like that's their second language. To me, it is a foreign language, and I have no idea what they're talking about. And that's probably what just happened with Johnathan and I, where I was like going super nerdy into the stream talk. It's like, yeah, sure.
It's like, same thing with me talking about like snowboard tricks or like things, there's a whole different jargon or language to it. I had a funny thought yesterday, if you'd like me to share it, if you're good.
No. Go ahead.
So we were one of Bobby's friends asked if we could watch her kid while she was finishing up work or whatever. And so he came over. He's a little like 3-year-old boy, and it was like Roman, Bristol, and him. And Bobby had to go take care of something, so she disappeared, and I was watching him. But then I had to take the dog outside, so I went outside. So the kids were technically like unsupervised for like a moment in the kids' room. They were playing, like it was fine, took the dog outside. But I was like, in my head, I was like, I wonder if all the adults just vanished, like what would happen with this kid dynamic, and like would they take care of each other? And then I was like, they'd probably create their own language, because they haven't been told what a thing is or created, and like humans have always done that, where they're like, oh, we're gonna call this thing a phone, and like now this is now called a phone essentially. I don't know, it was a weird thought that like if you're left to your loans, like your own a group of humans or whatever, you'll like come up with names for things and create your own language.
That's technically how the world was created. Was literally like people just
making up their own names.
Yeah, just like they were thrown into this world and they just learned how to communicate, and that's why like we don't obviously know, but when the movies or TV shows have cavemen, they talk in a slower, dumber down version, because they weren't as sophisticated, they weren't as civilized, they didn't have that language created yet, because they are the originals, like they were the ones that did it, and then eventually slowly they became more educated and more they built that foundation over and over, and like that's in theory like what it is, so it's you're not wrong that like if all the adults disappeared, like kids would create their own language. Yes, a lot of kids already speak English, but like they would have to, they don't know the answers to everything, they would have to create their own stuff, they have to create their own words.
Do you think so? Like I would say within the last 10 years, the like talk of flow state and like getting into a flow and a rhythm essentially, and maybe someone that's older that's watching this podcast or listening to it can answer this, but like I don't remember that being talked about much, and I know, especially when it comes to work and when it comes to snowboarding, like I need to, if I want to do something, I need to get into a flow, and once I'm there, I need to like hammer down and take full advantage of this current state that I'm in, knowing that it will run out. Do you think humans have always known that and always taken advantage of that? And then recently we're just calling it flow state?
I don't want to say smart people, but people that ask why. That's the most important thing in this world, is asking why. So, like Isaac Newton, and he was chilling at a tree, an apple fell, and he went, why did this fall on me? And then all of a sudden, he figured out what gravity was. That's literally what happened. Not in that exact order, in the sense he had to study a lot, but but you know what I'm saying? Like he was like, why did this apple fall? And then all of a sudden he figured out gravity. So some people that like would probably get into that flow state enough times were like, why is it that I'm so motivated and so focused now, but other times I'm not? And like then people started looking into it, and then I would say that the one reason why flow state is more popular now is like it's most definitely more popular now since brain scans have been a thing, because you're able to literally like have a visual representation of somebody's brain and be like, while they're in flow state, and they can see the way that your brain is like the motions are happening, or I don't know what I'm saying. See? Jargon. I don't know.
Electrons are firing.
Yeah, exactly. Like the neutrons are firing, right? So like they can literally like analyze the brain and be like, oh, look, he's in that flow state, and this is what happens when you're in that flow state. So I would say it's not necessarily that they never knew about it, but we're so advanced in our technology that we can learn so much more about it, that then puts us in this position. And then social media alone also just popularizes a lot of thoughts and a lot of ideas. I know that that's where I kind of learned about flow state. It's not that I've never felt it before. It's just that's where I like learned what it is and how important it is and things along those lines. And then when they started talking about it, they literally were like, you've probably felt this before, and then gave examples like, have you ever been, working on a school project and you felt so unmotivated and felt so confused, and then after you started doing it for a little bit and getting more momentum, all of a sudden you were just cruising, and all of a sudden you're done with the project, and it just felt like time wasn't even relative. I'm like, I know exactly what they're talking about. As soon as somebody starts breaking it down and explaining it, you're like, oh, I know what they're talking about. So I think that people knew about it. It's become a lot more popularized now.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Have you heard of the 1 month day?
1 month day. I don't think I've heard of this one.
Okay. So the way it works is you pick a day out of the month that you're gonna accomplish as much as you would do in the entire month, and you're gonna do it in one day. And the way it works is there's so much prep to it. So you say like, okay, in next Saturday, I'm having a 1 month day. So you write down and decide what you're going to work on. Like, what are the things that you would cover in this month? So like build this website and edit these 6 videos and accomplish all this stuff. Okay. So then you know what your tasks are, and you kind of break down like how like what parts of the day you're going to do that. And then you also like prep all the food for the day. You let everyone know like you're not going to be available. Like you can't call me, don't text me, like I'm not available. You also like get your phone away from you, or you like delete all your socials prior to this day. So then when the 1 month day happens, you have this extremely prepared and undistracted day that's like, hey, I wake up at 3 and I'm knocking this out right off the bat. And then once you then it's like you gotta like, okay, once that's knocked off, I'm going to this, and then once this is done, I'm having my first snack and my first break, and then I'm going back at it. And then you even like the do is like you should schedule like a walk in there. So like once you accomplish these couple tasks, you go outside, you go on like a 30-minute walk, and then you come back in, and then you go right at it again. And like the whole time you're not touching socials, you're not letting other things distract you. Like you can't have like all of a sudden you're calling me asking me for a clip or something. Like it's completely undistracted, full 24 hours of just getting it done.
I have not heard of this, but I love the idea, and I think that I personally would benefit from it a lot.
Yeah, and so like the idea is normal people get 2 to 3 real hours of work done a day. And the rest of your day, the rest of your work day is filled with distractions. Quick little conversation here, swiping on social media there, an email here, where if you have these tasks, whether it's a paper that needs to be written or a project that needs to get done, if you just eliminated every distraction and you're like, this is it, this is what needs to get done, and you create this environment where like that's the only thing that happens today is the one thing that needs to get done, or the multiple things that you want to get done, and you just go after it. I love the idea, especially like pre-season when I have like 900 things to get done before the season starts. Like an example would be like I can make stickers and then make some shirts, and then I could prep gear, and like there's so much that could be done in this. Like, and I have kids, like one of my biggest like flow interrupters or day like stoppers is the kiddos coming in and be like, hey dad, whatever. So if it's like I could send Bobby and the kiddos to Colorado Springs to spend time with the family for a day and stay the night and whatever, and then I can have this like super undistracted time, it'd be sick.
Got it. So you're just explaining a procrastinator's end of deadline experience. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, it's like what you do in college, like right before your last paper's due.
Now, I actually love that idea, though, and I actually love that you...
I'll try to send you the video.
Please do.
Like a guy made a whole video about it.
Please do. I actually love that you brought this up, though, because something that I have been talking with Kirsty about and doing is the idea of change. And what I mean by that is change is like the hardest thing in life, in the sense of like admitting that you need to change, admitting that there's something that's not working and you need to stop it and change. And I have already had like limits on my social media and stuff like that, but especially during like the election time, which has recently happened in the United States, I spent a lot of time on Twitter, but it was just like on the Google app on my phone, and I was just like scrolling through Twitter, and that was just like really toxic for a couple reasons. Because number one, it was like I didn't have Twitter installed, but I was still able to access Twitter, so then that was me like cheating that like time limit. But then also it was like just a lot of political talk, so it was like a lot of negative talk and just all this bad stuff. And I just realized I was like, what am I doing? I just stopped and I was like, what am I doing? Like, this is toxic. This is bad. I need to change. And so literally I like just took a second. I uninstall or I logged out of the like Twitter and Facebook. And then also I've been playing my Switch a lot, my Nintendo Switch, because I've been playing a game that Johnathan and I both love, Borderlands 2. It's a game I love, and it can be a very addicting game. And with that being said, like I noticed that I would just use that as, you know, after I go grocery shopping or whatever, and I just want a moment to chill, I'll just get on my Switch. But then all of a sudden I'm spending like an hour on my Switch. And I'm like, this isn't okay. Like, what am I doing? And so I am making changes that I just like took a moment to breathe, and I was like, this isn't working. Like, this is not okay. I need to change, and most definitely making those changes right now.
Oh, that's awesome, bro. And I know you've been going to the gym a ton and making a lot of positive changes in your life. And there is these self-reflection moments that are super important in order to grow and to get to next levels in life and things like that. And like, I mean, I had that moment this off season with the YouTube channel when I kept getting comments of like, I can't keep up with your videos. There's too many of them. There's too many of your videos, you know? And so I had to like, okay, hold on, pause, wait. Something's got to change. Cause also like, if like doing the same thing for like 2 years in a row, like same routine or like strategy or whatever, it's like not that bad. But when you're like, I'm 6 years deep of posting daily, and like the last two years have shown less return than it was, you know, it was working for a long time and now it's not. Like, okay, something's got to change like this, and you got to be very open to like opening the hood and looking underneath and seeing like what's going on. Is it me? Is it not me? Is it just a strategy thing? Am I consuming too much social? Am I just distracted? Am I drinking too much alcohol? Like things like that. You know, I've had moments where like, I'm not a big drinker and I don't drink heavy, but sometimes it's like, oh, like that 2 or 3 beers that I was having was causing me to struggle waking up earlier. So like, stop having a beer at dinner, like type thing.
I know what you mean. Like it's that self-reflection, and that's what I needed of just like just like took a moment and was like, I need to like something isn't working right now and I need to figure out what it is. And I just was like, there's a couple things that I need to take out. There's a couple addictions that I just need to take out. Like I said, like the video games and like the Twitter, and I even would have like Facebook installed, and I would just like be doom scrolling, and I'm like, what am I doing? This isn't important to me. This isn't what I need. So
I think every human struggles with doom scrolling. I struggle with it. I know everyone does. It's so freaking addicting. And I know one of my friends recently just deleted all of his apps. He's like, man, I haven't been this happy. And like, he did it like a week ago. He's like, dude, I have not been this happy in forever. And that's like one thing that I hate that happened to YouTube. I mean, I never scroll on YouTube, mainly because I think shorts ruined YouTube, and I'm trying not to like feed into, I want YouTube to be YouTube, but like it used to be the safe place of like, oh, like I can like only have YouTube and like I can consume educational content, things like that, where like you open TikTok, you're doom scrolling. Like you open Instagram, you're doom scrolling. And it's like, ugh. But everyone struggles with it, even high functioning people, like what I've seen and learned. And even just going on this trip to Finland with a bunch of creators who all are creating and all are successful and doing quote unquote like more creation than consumption, would quickly get sucked into their phone and I'd be like, oh, sorry guys, oh, sorry. Like I got sucked in. Like it just happens.
It's designed to be addicted, like addictive. Like it's literally, it's designed to make you get sucked in. It's designed, the algorithms are designed to be content that you want to see, content that interests you, content that you will just keep watching, and that's the way it's designed. And going back to, a callback to earlier in the episode where the guy's like, I can't believe you posted this, blah, blah. It's like, you post stuff to get reactions. You post stuff, like, not saying that you don't consciously do this, bro, but you post stuff in hopes that the people that are sucked in stay sucked in, or you post stuff in hopes that people get sucked in and get sucked into your content. That is the point of social media. That is the reality that we live in. And it's so funny that some of your biggest advocators against social media are people that are influencers. Like, I hate social media so much, and I'm not saying I'm an influencer, but I am a content creator, and same goes for you, bro. You talk about how bad, like we're talking about it right now, how bad social media is, but that's what you do for a living. It's so funny, the just how crazy. Yeah, I think you know what I'm saying.
It's funny because that was a joke I would say to the all the influencers on the Finland trip. I'd be like, they would be talking bad about the socials. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go make some content for people to doom scroll. Like, but it is wild to think too that, like, okay, social media is bad. It's created to suck you in and to make you swipe for hours, but the content that's on social media is created by people and not the algorithm. Like, does that make sense? Like, it's like, oh, TikTok sucks. Like, it's designed, it's gonna suck your day away. You're gonna be doom scrolling on TikTok. TikTok's awful, but all TikTok is a place for other humans to put their stuff on. Obviously there's an algorithm that picks things that it knows you'll like. Like, it keeps feeding me Bears fans crying after the field goal hit, and I love it. I've watched probably 100 reactions of Bears fans' hearts being broken. It sounds like I'm a horrible human, but the Bears suck.
I'm not saying that this is all TikTok's fault, because it's not. There's terrible people on social media that make it worse. I forget the guy's name, but I don't know if you saw that video of the guy that was texting and driving in a Lamborghini when it was raining, and he totaled his...
That influencer he was live.
Yeah, he was live streaming. Well, so someone else was live streaming him driving a Lamborghini in the rain, but he was texting. He was personally on his phone texting in the rain in a Lamborghini.
Pulled his phone out and texted.
Yeah, and like literally totaled it. And he like tried to manipulate it to where it was like, thank goodness I'm okay, blah, blah, blah. Like, which, yes, I'm not saying that he should be harmed, but it's like he tried to make it just seem like he got in this accident. And it's like, dude, you were driving recklessly while it was raining in a super sports car, whatever they call it, like a sports supercar, and you were texting. Like, you are 100% at fault here. Like, no one should necessarily feel bad for you right now. But anyways, those people create content that is toxic and above and beyond. And that hurts the platform because it makes it sets the bar for like insane content so high that people just keep trying to match it, keep trying to pass it, right? So like, that's a problem with social media. And then the other thing is that the platforms themselves reward that type of content, right? Like, at the end of the day, some of your biggest videos are accidents, right, bro? Like, you getting hit, you almost hitting somebody, you falling in a crazy manner, you going so fast and getting your pass pulled, right? Like, those are like those are your biggest videos. And so it's like essentially encouraging bad habits in theory. Like, your most viewed stuff is bad stuff, and that's what's getting encouraged. Now, that's not necessarily true. You've got multiple million views that are perfectly fine content, but I think you know what I'm getting at.
Yeah, no, totally. The algorithm, the algorithms reward outlandish and crazy things, and so people are out there purposely trying to create that type of content, like curate it. The crazy thing too about the comments, just to go back to the comment section real quick, was the amount of people that told me, "Weren't you someone that got a speeding ticket? Like, didn't you get a speeding ticket, or like, weren't you like get your pass pulled for speeding?" And it just, I replied to a couple because I was falsely accused of speeding, and I made a whole video, and that's why it went viral. And the whole reason why the video went viral was because it was a false accusation. But then when I read comments like that or see that, I'm just like, oh yeah, like not only are people stupid, but they're just headline readers. Like people like just glance over something, and then they glance over something and they think they know the facts.
Fake news, bro. And fake news.
I try to do my best in life to be someone that doesn't just glance over something and then speak it as truth. Or if I saw just a snippet, I'm like, hey, I didn't see much of this, but I heard. If I am going to talk about it, like so many people will be like, "Oh no, you can't tell people to go slow. You got a speeding ticket for snowboarding too fast." It's like, dude, you don't even know what the fuck you're talking about. Like,
as I'm getting older, I 100% agree with you that it's like I've seen so much misinformation get thrown around that I do take a second to try to investigate something before I go all in on it or believe it as truth. And I think
dude, it makes me.
Go ahead.
It just makes me terrified for the world we're about to go into with AI and like the rest of everything. Like absolutely terrified because most people are stupid.
Yeah, it's a dangerous world that we're about to go into, and I don't know if you've been seeing this hate about the Coca-Cola AI ad that came out, but Coca-Cola came out with a Christmas ad, which Coca-Cola and Christmas have gone hand in hand for like years now, where they make an ad. They got like their polar bears and Santa Claus, and like it's a holiday tradition at this point. And this year they made their ad with AI, and people are losing their freaking minds about it. And I'm like, why does it matter? It's an ad. But also, if you care so much about it, stop drinking Coke. And guess what? Nobody's gonna do that.
I haven't seen this ad. I'll have to look it up, but it's I like to think I'm in a genre that like can't be affected by AI, but I also need to stop having that thought process because you never know. You know, it could easily not be the case, and all of a sudden people just want to watch AI snowboarding instead of actual snowboarding.
I don't believe that that'll ever be the case, and the reason why I say that is there is something powerful, and maybe that's why people are getting so upset about this Coca-Cola commercial, but there is something powerful about human connection. It's a very real, like, it's a real thing that people want, is a human connection. That's why, like, people have experimented with, like, those robot girlfriends, and, like, it's just never going to be a thing because it doesn't give you your brain, it doesn't stimulate your body and your brain the same way. And I'm not saying that we will never get to that point because humans change, humans adapt, humans evolve, keep evolving. But like, if you really think about it, sports are still a thing, even with the technology we have, because humans have been wanting to watch other humans beat the crap out of each other for centuries. Since the beginning of time, people have wanted to see gladiators fight and just brutally beat each other up. Like, people want to see that. People want to see that human interaction. And so I don't think that AI will take over everything. I think that movies and TV will still be a thing. A lot of social media will not. I think a lot of social media will be replaced by it, but it's because they're more so just looking for the content rather than human interactions on like Instagram and TikTok and stuff like that. They're just looking for content to listen or to watch. But when it comes to actual snowboarding, actual sports, actual impressive things, I think people want that human interaction. And like when it comes to movies and TV, they want to feel what that that person's feeling, and they can't do that if it's a robot. They can do that if it's a human. So I think that I don't think AI is going to take over as much as people think it is.
I get offended every time someone mentions that, like, oh, eventually, like, football will be just robots and not humans in there. Like, it literally grinds my gears.
I forgot I think this is, I don't remember exactly where I heard this. I heard this like 10 years ago. I heard this so long ago, so I don't remember any sources for it or anything like that. But basically, somebody was saying that even when the economy's not doing well, even when just stuff is hitting the fan and like things just aren't working, entertainment is always there. Like humans prioritize entertainment over everything. People want to be entertained. It's an escape for people, but also it's just how people spend their time. They want to be entertained. And so once again, going back to like that human interaction and everything like that, like I've seen those sport things of like battle bots, which still has human interaction in it, but basically like where people build a robot, build an RC car, whatever, that then fights another RC car. Like it's entertaining, but also it's just entertaining because somebody built that. Like somebody made that machine. It's not entertaining because it's like, look at these robots go after. It's like, this is cool because somebody built that and like watch them fight against each other, right? There still is that human interaction.
They're driving it.
And they're driving it.
They're still,
yeah.
They're operating it.
Exactly. So that human interaction, that human entertainment will always be a thing. Entertainment will always be a thing. And if we had robots playing football, people wouldn't, like, it just doesn't have that same wow factor. It doesn't have that same novelty. It doesn't have that same experience. So I agree with you, bro. Like, football will always be football. It's just, that's what it's going to be.
On the note of human interaction, I'm hosting my biggest ever event this upcoming weekend. We'll probably talk a lot about it in the next episode because it's going to happen in between these. But Ben's coming to help out with that event. It's going to be it's a meet and wax, which I've done. This is my 6th year doing a meet and wax with my buddy Michael, the ski doctor, where people can come meet me, get their stuff tuned up. Last year's was actually, I think, the biggest successful one that I've had. Like 30 plus people showed up. But this year I'm also doing a rail jam, and we're giving away like bindings and snowboards and goggles. It's gonna be a crazy event with human interaction, and I hope you're excited, bro. Ben's actually coming to film it and document it for me.
Yeah, I'm super stoked, and I'm just gonna say this now. This podcast is gonna be uploaded after the rail jam, so it doesn't matter. But if you're a hater and you're just coming out to Johnathan's event to get the free stuff, don't come. If you hating, don't come. I'm joking. But it'll be funny to see how many people go and call you a kook or something.
Well, because it's my first ever rail jam, I wonder how many like people that don't like me, like, I'm showing up and I'm with Buckhouse's rail jam. And it's funny because it's going to be a kooky rail jam because it's like a dry slope setup and it's not like, it's sketchy and like it's not pristine, but it's fun and it's different and it's like very accessible. Like, you don't have to go up the mountain or whatever. And, like, even just finding a place that, like, it was like, yeah, you can have a rail jam here. Like, I was just thankful to have that opportunity, you know? And I just start with that there. And then maybe one day we'll be doing them on slopes. It'd be really sick. But with that, I think we did it, bro.
I think we crushed it.
This was a fun one. Just know, guys, you post on the internet, even when you're in the right, you're in the wrong. And when you can accept that, you'll become a good influencer.
Indeed. Well, thank you guys for liking, commenting, subscribing. Thank you guys for being a part of the conversation down below. Thank you guys for your time. Thank you guys for listening, watching, being here. We really do appreciate it. Episode 34 in the books. Next week with another great episode. Got anything else to say, bro?
No, guys. Thanks for listening, watching, subscribing. And as always, keep evolving.
Peace.
Peace.